This is the new iPad Pro with the latest, best specs. But here's the thing, specs don't matter. Vision matters, creativity matters, execution, that matters. The newest iPad Pro is a tool that can help you execute your vision in a creative way, but you will always matter much more than the machine. A faster processor doesn't automatically mean you're gonna meet the deadline faster. A brighter screen doesn't automatically make you shine brighter. A row of function keys doesn't automatically make you more functional. And a squeezable stylus doesn't automatically squeeze more out of your ideas. What I'm saying is, owning a Pro doesn't automatically make anything happen. Being Pro does. You are the battery that gives this thing life. Just because it's plugged in doesn't mean it has a charge. So here's what I can tell you about this new iPad Pro. Having this particular machine in the arsenal with its top specs pushes me to push it. Maybe put differently, you could say you can get more out of it because you can put more into it. What do I mean by that? Well, I can work outside thanks to the really bright display. I've also got new ways to create and interact with content. You can see the squeeze in action right here. You can also see the dedicated dictation button, which you can tap to dictate or you can hold in order to activate Siri. You know, in terms of the camera and mic setup, it's really nice to be able to look directly at the screen, just straight on. I'm looking at the camera right now instead of having to look over here where the camera used to be. I mean, it's just natural. It looks good. And the mics work really good. I did a pretty good test of this in a recent video, but here's what it sounds like too. You're listening to the mics coming out of this Pro here. But when I say the changes are big changes in ways that matter, what I mean is even something like the cooling. Apple integrated some really cool stuff with the logo and the materials here. And guess what? I can tell the difference. On the old iPad Pro, I would be holding this and it would be hot. It would almost like burn in some instances. I mean, so far this honestly has been my dream iPad experience. We're gonna break it all down, but first I gotta let you know I'm still celebrating its launch. That means that for a limited time, you can still get 50% off all of my courses, including the latest course, Freeform Unleashed, going way beyond the basics. So those are all linked up down in the description. Let me just cover something right off the bat. If you have the previous iPad Pro, that's the one with the white magic keyboard here, should you upgrade to the latest one? Well, I'm gonna do a full comparison of these very shortly, so get subscribed, but what I will say is that it's not every day, it's hardly ever actually, that I would recommend somebody upgrade from the previous model of an Apple product to the latest model. Most of the time, people should be upgrading maybe every 2 or 3 years or more based on need, because they just don't need whatever the extra bells and whistles or extra power would be. But this year, I'm making an exception. I actually think if you have the budget, this is completely worth upgrading to. Having used this, there's just so much that's new that I enjoy so much that when I switch back to the old one and try to get something done, I just don't enjoy it like I do the new one. Quick example, I took this to a sports practice. It was bright outside and I was actually able to edit a video. I started at 100% battery life, and by the time I was done, including the export, this is a 4K video, multicam editing in Final Cut Pro in the bright outside sun, even without the nano texture display. I finished that with 65% battery, including the export. That was work that I could get done here that I could not have gotten done here. So I've added extra time to my day, to my schedule. That's like a superpower. The insane quality of this display is not just about the jaw-droppingly clear and bright and brilliant colors. I mean, it is about that because wow, does it look good. But when I fire up something like Final Cut Pro and actually get work done in a time and a place where I couldn't have normally, that's called being very, very practical. And that's simply due to the brighter display. Even when I have this on my desk, I've got a window off to my right and I get these reflections. And with the previous iPad, I had to like angle that and position it and tilt it just the right way at certain times of the day. Well, here I don't have to do that because it's just so bright that the reflections don't really hardly matter. So I see a lot of people being like, well, why is he freaking out? Has he never seen OLED before? It's practical. When you get it on the desk and you get it into your workflow and you actually start using it, it becomes apparent why it's such an upgrade outside of sometimes the reasons that you just assumed. Here I've got Octane X loaded up, and you can see as I move this around, I'm sort of getting a fuzzy preview. The second I take my finger off, it starts compositing all the little bits and pieces together. It's loading up that progress. A lot of people are like, how could you ever push this device and the chip to the max? Well, look. This green line, it's not instant. It's not just going over to the right. It's taking a little bit for this to load, to think, to load up this asset and render it. By the way, wow, it looks so good when you get this stuff rendered on here. But yeah, I mean, there are instances for certain professions, certain workflows, where this power actually really matters. Now, when things change, it's not always just amazing right off the bat. Sometimes there's a bit of a learning curve. So we got this new row of function keys, which I do not regret. I really like it. But notice the delete key is sitting right under the lock key. And sometimes when I'm typing and I mean to delete, I'll accidentally hit that lock key instead and realize, oh, this is a little different than what I'm used to. I need to make some adjustments. So there's definitely been a getting to know you period, I would say, with this new Pro here. And that's because things have definitely been different, but you'll notice I haven't said that they're worse. That's because I think they're better. By far. Real quick, let me just say different people use their iPads in different ways. If you want to optimize your iPad Pro experience for the new Apple Pencil Pro, then check out today's sponsor, Paperlike, whose screen protector features proprietary nanodots. They're tiny microbeads that are designed to add paper-like resistance for Apple Pencil users, since it appears like Apple's new nano texture is geared more towards color management in bright situations rather than pencil usage. So if you want a truly pro Apple Pencil Pro experience, I'm gonna link that up for you down in the description. All right, let me just ask you, what kind of iPad user are you? Because I think there's kind of two main types. You've got your iPad only users, where this thing is your main computing device. And then you have your iPad also users, where you use it in conjunction with a partner in crime, maybe a MacBook Pro, for instance. To be very honest, I don't think it matters which sort of iPad user you are, because this thing hits a home run in either of those ballparks. Why do I say that? Well, as a standalone machine, you don't have to deal with any compromises. Now, that's not meant to be a controversial statement. I'm not even talking about iPad OS. What I'm talking about is you have an incredible screen. You have the option to add an incredible Magic Keyboard. I just reviewed this separately recently. And you also have the ability to use the brand new Apple Pencil Pro. And all of this I think of as an ecosystem within an ecosystem. It's the iPad ecosystem, which you can add components to or take away. It's very modular, that fits within the overall bigger, broader Apple ecosystem. If you want to hook this up to an external display and be iPad first, you can do that. But something that I can say this year is that I could do all of my work on the iPad Pro. Now, I might not be able to do it exactly the way that I've been used to doing it, but I could do all my work on this iPad Pro. And that is really a big deal for me personally. Now, in my head and in my actual real life, I've stopped doing the iPad versus Mac thing, because for me, they've ended up being better together. At my desk, I've got a studio display sandwich where I've got the MacBook Pro over on the right, the iPad Pro over on the left. I'm using universal control, letting the iPad be the iPad. It's not being taken over and being a screen extender for the Mac. It's a full-on tablet, and I can grab it and rip it off while this is still charging and actually get some tablet-y stuff done, put it back, use it for extra screen real estate. Having the extra screen real estate is such a bonus, especially when it's this screen, if I need something to look good when I'm editing it. But let's not forget about the iPhone, okay? When I have the iPhone in the mix, and I usually have that like on me in my pocket, I kind of think of my desk setup as a triangle of power. Oftentimes I'll film something on the iPhone and airdrop it over to the MacBook, and I work on it there. I do Mac things there before sending it over to the iPad, where I let the iPad leave its own particular mark, usually with the Apple Pencil, on my work. And that's not something that I could do if I just had the iPad Pro, or if I just had the MacBook Pro, or if I just had something else. But I think as I hear myself saying all this, that's what's so cool about this, is you can do what works best for you, whether that's standalone or integrating it like a puzzle piece into a bigger picture. Now, Chris Stradamus, I can predict people are gonna be like, all this hardware, but it's still iPad OS, still an iPad. I use the iPad Pro all the time. I write here, I edit photos, I'm doing video content. I live in freeform, and there's so many apps in here that I just couldn't do without. So many instances where I just rip this off and go sit on the couch or a chair, and I just dictate and surf around, and it's so much better. I use it in a way that I couldn't use the Mac. And in those instances, actually, I should say, this thinness, this lightness, it actually matters. A lot of people are like, we didn't ask for it to be thinner, but we got it thinner. Yeah, it's a little bit less heavy that way. I like that. That's good when I'm in that mode. I guess what I'm trying to say is I view this more than any of my other devices as my weapon of mass creation, which is odd because I see the comment so often that the iPad is just for consumption. That never makes sense to me because that's not how I use it. This is definitely for creators. It's just, what sort of a creator are you? It's nice having the 13-inch here with the extra screen real estate. I mean, often I'll have Notes open on the right side or left side, and then Safari open on the other, and it's nice to be able to see more. I need to roll out some more demos and comparisons. I got an 11-inch sitting around here somewhere, and you can definitely see how much more of a website or of an article, or if you're typing something, how much more of that document you can see with that extra screen real estate with the 13-inch model here. I mean, it does make a big difference. I mean, you open up the Files app and you're in column view, you can see more in a column. I know I talk a lot about productivity on here. I know I talk a lot about freeform, hence me making those courses, right? But I wanna say, as a productivity machine, I do feel myself drawn to this in a way that I haven't with the latest iPad Pro, beyond just like regular iPad stuff. I know that some people feel like this isn't a big change, but it actually is an enormous change if you factor in some simple logic. The logic being there are times when things get perfected, right? A phone is basically a phone. A lot of phone companies have basically settled on whatever design they're gonna go with, including to a large extent Apple. Maybe they're gonna switch up and do foldable. You keep hearing the rumors, I don't know. But that applies to an iPad too. We're basically nearing perfection of what this can look like, what it can do. If you think about it, something truly different did get offered recently. That's the Apple Vision Pro, right? If you want something way, way different, then you have that. And just in case you missed either my standalone review of the Apple Pencil Pro or the new Magic Keyboard, it's great to be able to do new things here. Like with the Squeeze, I can start and stop things. It's basically a remote. And different developers are going to come up with different ways to implement Squeeze within their apps, the things that make the most sense for their particular app and users. That keeps things in the realm of close to perfection with the iPad and its form factor, while also opening up a wide swath of new opportunities and possibilities. I really like that. So I'm a big iPad user. You can call me an iPad fan. That's fine, because I am. I really like this device. Is it worth upgrading? I mean, I've given you my rationale, my reasoning. If it's in your budget, this is a super cool device to make use of, to utilize, a tool to have in your toolkit. Realistically, whatever work you already do, for 99% of people, you're not gonna be able to do anything super new here. That doesn't mean though that it doesn't feel very different to use this in terms of the new screen, in terms of this new keyboard, the new Apple Pencil. So in that way, I would say this feels very fresh. I hope this very different sort of a review brought some value to you. If it did, then subscribe. Check out the other iPad content that I've been pumping out. Check out the courses, 50% off for a limited time. Got a new course in the works already. So now's the time to get caught up before the new one, which is probably the one I'm most excited about. It may be like the pinnacle of all courses that I ever create. It's like a chunk of me that I really care about. So that's coming up. Otherwise, if you have any specific questions, leave them down in the comments. I'll try to answer those either in a new video or in the actual comments, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.